Welcome to the deep dive. Ever feel like you're talking at people, not really with them,
Mm-hmm.
or that maybe your best intentions kind of get misunderstood sometimes?
Yeah, happens all the time.
Well, today we're diving into a real classic. Sold over 15 million copies. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
Our mission to basically pull out the core wisdom, give you some powerful insights, help you transform interactions, maybe boost your popularity, get things done better.
Carnegie called it human engineering. Sounds a bit technical, maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's really about understanding what makes people tick. The subtle things that drive behavior.
Okay.
It's about navigating that big problem you often face, whether it's in business or, at home, social stuff.
Yeah.
Learning to connect and influence well.
Yeah.
Let's unpack some of these principles. They're pretty timeless.
Okay, let's kick things off, and maybe with the hardest one. Carnegie's first principle: don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
Mm-hmm. Tough one.
It really goes against the grain, doesn't it? I mean, the book points out even guys like Two Gun Crowley and Al Capone, they didn't blame themselves.
Never saw themselves as wrong.
Right. Justified everything right to the end. It's kind of a stark reminder, We all resist blaming ourselves.
And what's really key here, it's not just that criticism fails. It actually shuts people down.
Yeah.
You lose that openness you need for any real connection.
Yeah.
And, behavioral science, like B.F. Skinner's work, it consistently shows positive reinforcement works for learning. Punishment. It just creates resistance, builds walls. Hanselai, the stress expert, you put it perfectly. We thirst for approval, but we dread condemnation. It's fundamental. It triggers pride, makes progress impossible.
That makes sense. I'm thinking of that George B. Johnston story with the hard hats.
Oh, yeah, the construction supervisor.
Right. His first approach, really authoritarian, just led to people grumbling and, barely complying.
Full in compliance, yeah.
But then he shifted. Pleasant tone, explained the benefit, this protects you, and suddenly genuine cooperation. It's such a small shift in approach. Huge difference.
It really is.
We've all been tempted to fire off that angry email, though, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. Even Lincoln. Apparently, early on, he was pretty sharp with criticism.
Really? Lincoln?
Yeah, but he learned that famous story about General Meade after Gettysburg. Meade didn't pursue Lee's army. Lincoln wrote this furious letter, but he never sent it. He realized, it would just make Meade defensive, wouldn't help.
So he just stopped himself.
Exactly. The core message is kind of like criticisms are like homing pigeons. They always come back to you. People end up condemning us.
Okay, so step one is just stop criticizing, which is easier said than done.
Right.
But if we can't criticize, what do we do instead?
Well, that brings us straight to principle 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation.
Appreciation. Okay.
And this isn't just about being nice, It's tapping into something deep. That human need for validation. It's a huge lever for influence most people just miss.
That desire to be important, as John Dewey called it.
Exactly. Or, William James said, the craving to be appreciated. It's fundamental.
It's easy to forget how powerful that is. I mean, Charles Schwab, first president of U.S. Steel, made $1 million a year back then.
Huge money.
And not for technical know-how, right? But because he could arouse enthusiasm through appreciation and encouragement, he said it was his biggest asset.
He was apparently lavish in praise. That's powerful.
Yeah. And Carnegie tells that story, the husband whose wife asked him for 6 things she could improve.
Oh, I remember that one.
Instead of a list, he sends 6 red roses. The note says, I can't think of 6 things I would like to change about you. I love you the way you are.
Wow. Imagine getting that.
Right. The impact of that genuine appreciation.
No.
It's transformative.
And the key word there is genuine, sincere appreciation, not, fake flattery. That usually backfires too.
Good point. Has to be real.
Yeah. Like the story of Stevie Morris, who became Stevie Wonder. A teacher genuinely appreciated his hearing, his musical gift. And for him, that was the beginning of a new life, that real connection, that belief. It matters.
It really taps into something essential, doesn't it? Which I guess leads us nicely to the third principle.
Yep, principle 3, arouse in the other person an eager want.
An eager want. Okay, this sounds strategic.
It is maybe the most strategic. Carnegie uses that fishing analogy, remember?
Oh yeah, the worms, not the strawberries and cream.
Exactly. You use what the fish wants, not what you want. Why don't we do that with people?
And
It's about empathy, really, seeing their perspective.
Henry Ford nailed this, didn't he? He said something like, the secret isn't your viewpoint, it's getting into their shoes, seeing things from their angle, too.
Precisely. It's about understanding their why, like you said.
Okay.
Because it really boils down to this. People have a fundamental need to express themselves, to feel heard, valued. If you can tap into that eager want, as Carnegie calls it, you give them a way to meet their own goals, feel important, while, helping you meet yours. It's win-win.
Carnegie himself used this, right, with the hotel rent increase.
Yeah, that's a great example. He didn't argue about his budget problems.
So,
He made a list of pros and cons for the hotel if they raised his rent. Talked only from the manager's point of view.
and they lowered the rent instead.
Significantly, yeah. Same with that Barbara Anderson example. Applying for jobs, she didn't talk about why she wanted to move.
She focused on.
She focused on how her experience could help the banks achieve their goals. Landed tons of interviews.
So, pulling this all together then, what does this mean for you listening?
Well, just imagine, right? Imagine the difference in your relationships, your work, if you really practice these three things.
Ditching the criticism, focusing on sincere appreciation.
And always trying to figure out and appeal to what the other person genuinely wants.
It's not just about managing people, is it? It feels deeper, like understanding human nature itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Carnegie suggests we all have these powers, sort of lying dormant.
So here's the challenge for you. How much better, how much more fulfilling could your interactions be if you shifted focus? Less fault-finding and more genuinely understanding drives, acknowledging worth.
What surprising breakthroughs, what little nuggets might you find when you start applying these, well, simple but really profound ideas day to day?